Sega Sammy reports a 91% profit drop this year. I suppose Sonic Racing Crossworlds wasn't that big of a hit. Unbelievable. Japan Sega Sammy Holdings has reported a steep decline in earnings for the 6 months ending September 30th, 2025, citing slower video game sales, acquisition costs, and regulatory delays. Wow, who would have thought that buying Angry Birds would not have been profitable for them? Despite the downturn in its entertainment and mobile game division, the company's gaming operations, including its casino and patchy slot segments, achieved notable growth. So the things that nobody cares about are doing well, but actual video games are on the way out. This is why nobody cares about Sonic. Financial results impacted by lower game sales and one off costs. According to the company's financial report released Friday, net profit dropped 91% year on year to JPY 2.75 billion, down from 30 billion in the same period a year earlier. Operating income also fell by 69%, while revenue decreased 5%. Adjusted declined 54% to 104 million. Sega Sammy attributed these results primarily to weaker than expected console and mobile game performance and underperformance at its mobile subsidiary, Robio Entertainment, best known for Angry Birds. The company also absorbed integration and restructuring costs associated with its recent acquisitions of B2B gaming providers of Stake Logic and GAN Limited. Approval delays for new patchy slot machines further affected first half performance. Even so, the Tokyo based group maintained its full year forecast. Sales in the entertainment content division came in below expectations. Though downloadable content and licensing revenue proved stability, the company said upcoming releases such as Football Manager and Yakuza Kiwami are expected to bolster results in the second half of the final fiscal year. Notice how they didn't talk about Sonic Racing, at all. Almost like that game wasn't relevant in any way, shape, or form. And like they are becoming more and more reliant on fucking Yakuza, and Yakuza's not going to be able to carry this company. Okay, like Yakuza is like their one saving grace, and only because like really nobody does it better than they do. Like the instant it has real competition in that niche, it's going to go downhill really quickly. While most divisions underperformed, Sega Sammy's gaming business was the only one to show substantial growth. It's driven largely by the consolidation of Stake Logic and GAN. However, the segment will still post a net loss due to and restructuring expenses tied to the acquisitions. So they lost money because they bought Rovio. The company credited strong performances from a casino gaming unit and from its parent. Yep, nothing about video games. Sega Sammy said it intends to maintain momentum by expanding in the North American market and introducing new products compatible with its slimmer Genesis Nova cabinet. Additionally, Sega Sammy stated that business revitalization programs are underway to improve profitability and operational efficiency. The firm said it will review any potential changes to its full year outlook after these programs progress further. Let's see. At the same time, Korean. Wow. Wow. Okay. So Sega is going the Konami route essentially. They are much more well known for their pachinko machines and gambling than they are for video games. And you all know what that means. That means less investments into console gaming, less support for iconic video game franchises, and just more and more money funneled into gambling. Like this is the end result of Sega's console warring with Nintendo, is that they were driven out of the console and the software space, and so they have to rely on exploiting wealthy boomers with too much money to spend. That is that is sad. That's pathetic. I can't believe that anybody seriously looks at this, respects it, or takes it seriously. This is a complete joke. This is something that fans really need to start talking about more. 91% drop. Wow. That's crazy. It's almost like that Sega isn't doing well or something. But yeah, It's remarkable reading this kind of article and seeing that Sega is hedging all their bets on a remake of Yakuza 3, which, by the way, is like generally considered the worst Yakuza. They are really just desperate. They are carried entirely by Gakadoku's studio at this point. They don't have anything else going for them. And so they have to keep talking about them whenever bragging about how well they're doing, because they have nothing else. Like, are they going to like brag about Sonic Racing? Because any investor worth their salt is going to come up there and just be like, "Hey, what about Mario Kart World?" Like, yeah, bringing Mario Kart World into this is just a demonstration of just how poorly Sega is doing. Like, forget competing with Mario Kart. Like Sonic Racing, like Crossworlds, couldn't even compete with Kirby Air Riders. We're at the point now where Kirby is bigger than Sonic. And there's this very real, like stubborn refusal to admit it, but like the people who grew up with Sonic are in their 40s now. Everyone who's grown up with the character since, like after that point, has grown up with him in like the era where he already fell off. Like realistically, like he was never good, but like people were gaslighting you into thinking Sonic was good until at least like 2006, where like that was kind of the breaking point for a lot of people. But the reality of the situation is Sonic is a slop brand. Sega, you know, pulled it out of their ass to try and compete with Mario and Nintendo. And now that like the character has served its purpose, they've retreated into gambling because it's just an easy money making venture with no oversight where they can just make money endlessly with no real consideration for making quality content that people would actually enjoy. Gambling is a degenerate hobby, and Sega is a degenerate hobby that will exploit degenerate people. That's just the reality of it. They are no different than Konami. I would not be surprised if like the CEOs of like Konami and Sega were in like a homosexual affair. Like they were just swapping stories on how they were gonna use gamers to fund their gambling business. Like that's what we're seeing here. We are seeing like the end of an era in which all of these major Japanese companies, all of them that have tried their hardest over the past 30 years to destroy Nintendo, have all just completely imploded and become completely irrelevant. Sega just does, being a Hawaiian company, like just cannot compete with what Nintendo was able to bring to the table. Like Sega has always been a copycat company. They were always, the Sony of their time. They were a complete and total joke. And I am very, very glad to see that downward arrow for their profit.